ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. Okay. So, to look at what we did last time, I am not in them, they are in me, and they are not in me either. You know, there are two theories behind all these seemingly contradictory statements. One is people are listening and listening and listening, so you tend to get mechanical. Thinking slows down, you stop thinking. I mean, these are normal, it happens. So one theory is that Krishna deliberately uses a few controversial statements so that we wake up and say, hey, what is that like? That is one. The other, if you go by the old story of the deal between Vyasa and Ganesha, because Vyasa must have been, in some ways, I think I have something in common with him. Both of us don't like to write. So Vyasa needed a scribe to write down whatever he spoke, the verses he composed. So he asked Ganesha to write. And Ganesha said, sure, no problems. Only one condition. Once I start writing, my quilt should not stop because of you. Meaning I have finished writing and you are still composing. That should not happen. So Vyasa said, okay. So the story goes that throughout the Mahabharata you will find every 20th, 30th, 50th verse, something like that. You will find one complicated verse coming up like this. The theory being that Vyasa deliberately does it so that Ganesha pauses to think, because that is a part of the condition. That before you write down, you will understand what I have said. So even Ganesha had to pause to think for a moment before he writes down. And in that moment, Vyasa has composed a few more verses. It's a story, okay? Take it only as a story. Don't take it too seriously, but it's interesting. Okay? So you will find like this. Okay? I am not in them, they are in me. That is pretty easy to understand because Ishvara is the totality. So Ishvara is the totality. We should be in Ishvara. If we are taking ourselves as separate entities, it's from that standpoint, as jivas. So as jivas, if you're taking ourselves as finite entities, then we are in Ishvara, Ishvara is not in us. Because Ishvara is a totality. Now when you shift attention to the consciousness, to the awareness that I really am, then Ishvara says, they are not in me. Why? They and me separate don't exist. There is only one consciousness. So apparently at the functioning level, there is a difference. But that difference is also not totally different. Why? Because we are all in Ishvara. So Ishvara Jnanam should remove any feeling of disconnectedness that you have. Because Ishvara is alive. Nothing is separate from Ishvara. Everything is Ishvara. And it is totally gone when you understand, hey, they are not in me. Meaning, there is only one consciousness, no Jiva and Ishvara separate. So the moment you are talking about functioning, etc., Vyavahara, there is an apparent separation. Apparent, not real. And the moment you shift to the reality, there is only oneness alone. So it's at these two levels that Krishna is speaking. Remember one thing, when you listen to any Vedanta text, Vedanta is always about shifting standpoints. Standpoints keep shifting all the time. Sometimes functional, sometimes reality. Sometimes functional, sometimes reality. So your mind also has to move. Okay. Yeah. You need a sharp mind, a mind that moves fast, not a dull mind. That's why somebody said, why don't you keep the class earlier at 4 o'clock? I said, no, in case lunch gets delayed, I want the lunch, etc., to be digested before you sit in the class. Or at least the stomach should be emptied. It can be there in your small intestine. But stomach emptying should take place, 1 hour minimum. So that there is no problems of sleepiness, etc., dullness coming in. Your mind can move fast. So the shifting standpoints will always be there. Okay, I think I made that point clear? Yeah. All right. Then, any other questions, or shall we go ahead? Okay, all right. Now, what he has said before, he is repeating with an example. Yatha akasha sthito nityam vayu sarvatra go mahan tatha sarvani bhutani mastani iti upadaraya. Like Vayu that moves in space. Wherever Vayu goes, Vayu is air, okay? It includes not only the Vayu that you breathe in, etc., but the cosmic winds also, okay? Yeah. All of that. Wherever it goes, mighty. Where does it go? In space itself. Cannot go outside space. There is nothing like outside space. Inside, outside, etc. is all with reference to space only. So it all moves in space. Similarly, he says, Sarvani Bhutani Vyavahara, Sarvani Bhutani Mastani Evo Iti Upadharaya. It moves in me alone. Wherever the mind goes, the mind moves in consciousness alone. And the consciousness will be manifest there, in that mind. We are talking about 14 dimensions now. Atala, Vitala, Sutala, etc. until Mahapatala, and Bhurabhuva, Suvaha, etc. until Brahmaloka. 14 dimensions. Wherever you go, you are moving only in consciousness. In consciousness alone is all motion, not apart from consciousness. Wherever the jiva goes. That's why the jiva leaving the body. So the body is not there, only Sukshma Sharira is there. The subtle body is there. But where does it go? That Sukshma Sharira is alive. Why? Consciousness is manifest there. When the Sukshma Sharira quits this body is not alive. Why? It cannot manifest consciousness. So manifested consciousness, what you are calling life. And where is consciousness? Everywhere. So wherever the mind goes, it is conscious. And wherever the mind goes, it is in consciousness alone. It can't be anywhere else. That is why tomorrow, if you create a cell in a laboratory, new life form, does it dismiss Vedanta? You create a pot and space is manifest there, right? Does it mean that you created pot space or you created pot? You only created the pot. Similarly, you create a new cell, you gave a condition for all pervading consciousness to manifest. Good. Great work. It doesn't dismiss Vedanta, it supports Vedanta. No amount of scientific development will dismiss Vedanta. Yeah, there will be arguments against Vedanta coming from science, that is true. But they can all be answered, not a problem. Yeah. In inert objects, what happens is, there is no mind. Like this book. Right now it is inert. No mind. Therefore I can do what I want with it. But when this book was sentient, when this book was a tree, and I broke off a branch, there would be a silent scream. J.C. Bose and his experiments. Yeah. Which is true. Yeah. So because there is a rudimentary mind. Rather, there is a jiva there with a proper mind. But the equipment cannot manifest the whole mind. It can only manifest that much mind for that jiva to be alive, to respond to its environment in terms of heat and light. And the goats and the sheep nibbling away at it. That's why they are called Papa Yonis. On earth, when you have too much of Papa, and you are born on earth, then you will take up all these lower life forms. Where look at the helplessness. You are a jiva with a conscious mind. This jiva was a human being before. Only then you can do Papa Karma to go be born like that. And to imagine to be trapped in a body that does not respond like a human body can. What a punishment is that is. BMC is coming to trim all my branches is a painful experience. Before rain, and they do such a haphazard job on top of it. Yeah. I mean, you go to the parlor, because now lockdown is relaxed, so all the parlors, the barber shops and all are open. And he massacres your hair. How do you feel about it? Just a hair. In 1 month or 2 months max it will grow back. That's why I yet to see people who are happy with their haircut on the first day. First day usually you are not very happy. Then after that you get used to it. I look okay, I look fine, now I am happy with it. So, Yoni means a womb, okay? Papa Yoni, a womb where you are given birth in terms of your papas, predominantly Papa. Therefore, imagine, at least chopping the hair is not a painful process, physically painful process. Just imagine, you have fingers which you can grow back. Okay? Like a lizard or something. You can grow back, but it's still a painful process. A lizard can grow back his tail, for example. It'll be nice to have that, but it is still painful to go through it, isn't it? There's only one person I seen who can grow it back and it's not a painful process. That is called Deadpool. Okay. I don't know whether they're DC comics or what comic, but whatever. Okay. They're comic strip hero. Okay. Yeah. So other than that, so similarly for a tree, it's a painful process. Forget liking the looks of it. It's a painful process and he feels Shaky because the trimming has not been done properly. So he's always afraid he'll fall and die. What a condition to be in. What a condition. Papa yonis. Or you'll take the potential of the tree is to grow big, and you'll make a bonsai out of it. I don't know how people find bonsai very beautiful. I think it is a pathetic thing. You are not letting the tree grow to its full potential. Yeah, making it bonsai. What are you doing? Yeah. Let it grow to its full potential. Now there's a glory in that tree when it grows to its full potential. Instead of making it a pygmy, 2 feet or less. There used to be someone who used to attend my class who used to do this bonsai work. Pathetic. My opinion. Others can have a different opinion. No grow trees. They are working out their papas. So keep growing. Someone is saying, don't grow trees. No, grow. They work. Let the jivas work out their papas and get better birth next lifetime. Plant more trees. Yeah. Let them work out their karma and next lifetime. Yeah. Become better human beings where they exhausted all their negative karma and this thing is good. Yeah. Going by that logic, all lower life forms are Papa yonis. But treat them with compassion. Don't pamper them, okay? Then they'll have to take another birth as a dog. Why? Because you have pampered them so much in this lifetime. So all the papas are not worked out. So another lifetime as a dog, you want them? Hey, next lifetime, let them be human beings, Baba. Don't pamper them so much in this lifetime. Let them work out their karma. Human birth is mixture. When your papa and your punya is more or less in balance, you get a human lifetime. That's why kabhi khushi, kabhi gum. Everything is going fine, you are having a great time, then you fall down and break a leg. Yeah, I mean everything is fine here. It is great. But some papa has to manifest. No? And intense papa manifesting is your Sade Sati time. Edara Shani. Okay. I'm not joking. I'm just saying it in a funny manner. Okay, these are all true. And then some of us are so great that our responses to situations are so great that we suffer more. Like someone like Gahan is laughing away at his injury. Yeah. He can take a joke that I make on it. He's laughing it away. His response is good. Somebody else miserable. He's on top of it. Swamiji is not even showing any sympathy. He's making a joke out of it. Oh my God. Why are you being so miserable about it? Take one papa gone, na? Achha ye. It's good. Yeah. So, this is the whole karma play, okay? But that is Vyavahara. With this from the Vyavahara standpoint, you will say that everything moves in Ishvara alone. You can also say everything moves in consciousness itself. But then when you're looking at it, looking at the whole creation, from taking a stand on consciousness, there is nothing other than consciousness. All that is there is only one consciousness, nothing else. That means you don't see the differences? Of course you see the differences. Apparent. Yeah. Okay. Mastani iti upadharaya. Okay. Then little bit he also naturally is going into the theory of karma and everything. Let us look at what he is saying. Sarva bhutani kaunteya prakritim yanti mamikam kalpakshaye punaryastani kalpado visrajamyaham. Sarva bhutani he kaunteya he kunti putra. Okay. In olden language, not only in India, in other places also, this son of so and so, child of so and so was very common, you know. Yeah, Johnson, what does it mean? Son of John, actually. Most of the Scandinavian names are like that. Son of so and so, son of the, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, he Kaunteya, Kunti Putra, Kaunteya. Okay. Sarva Bhutani Mamakim Prakritim Yanti Kalpakshaye. Kalpakshaye at the end of the Kalpa. Okay. One Kalpa is 4 yugas. Satya, Treta, Dwapara, Treta and Kali. Okay. 4 yugas. So when the 4 yugas are over, Kalpakshaye, all of them, the whole creation is resolved into me alone. But is there automatic self-realization? No, it is like you going to sleep. You are resolved, but through Maya Shakti. Therefore, their ignorance remains in your minds. Exactly like how, when you go to sleep, you go in with your whole personality and come back with your whole personality. You don't come back with any great insights after that, when you go to sleep. Okay. If you have got any insight that you got during REM sleep or during your dream state, like you are working on some mathematics problem or something, and suddenly when you woke up, you find, hey, I know the answer. That happened in your dream state. That can happen. Therefore, Kalpakshaye Mama Prakritim Yanti. They come to this thing, they are all resolved in thing. And Punastani, again, Kalpado, at the beginning of the next Kalpa now. There is a gap. Okay, the beginning of the next Kalpa, Visrajamyaham, I manifest the whole beings again. Because what is the structure of the next creation going to be? All the characters who are there in different 14 lokas. What is their karma, karma phalam, etc. Accordingly, they will be manifest. But population growth, no? So if everyone is manifest at the same time, how can population grow? There are so many more trees at the beginning of a kalpa, so many more plants, so many more animals, so many more bugs. What about all of that? What about all of that? Every jiva has an upadhi. Not a problem. Okay? Yeah. All right. Never Visrajamya. That's a very simple thing. Prakritim swam avishtaya visrajami punah punah bhutagramam imam krishnam avasham prakrite avashat. Swam prakritim avashtabhya. Mastering my prakriti, being in charge of my prakriti. Prakriti here is Maya Shakti. Okay? Being in charge of the Maya Shakti. Yeah, I'll come to that also. Avashtabhya, being in charge of that. Visrajami punah punah, again and again I'll manifest them. Who manifest what? Bhutagramam among Krishnam. This entire Bhutagramam. Avasham prakriter vashat. Why? They are not free from Prakriti. They are under the hold of ignorance. Since they are on the hold of ignorance, they are all taken themselves as finite entities. So when they are manifest as finite entities with finite upadhis. Those few who know the truth, they remain as pure consciousness. They remain as pure consciousness. They are the Jivan Muktas. Those few remain as Jivan Muktas. Others manifest again, manifest again. Okay. What about those people who went to Brahmaloka but didn't gain moksha because they were distracted there? They will become the rishis of the next kalpa. Why? Because they are very prepared souls and they have that, we should not have been distracted when we are in Brahmaloka. So when they are manifest here as human beings, they are open to that knowledge. So a word, a sound is enough for them to understand what it is, what is missing in their lives. Okay. That is why most cycles of creation are repetitive. They are the same. But if you look at creation, it is a zero-sum game. Because nothing can be really created or destroyed. No? So it's all manifesting from here to there to here. That's all. Yeah. Yes. If you dig a hole, to put it in simple terms, the zero-sum game. If you dig a hole, you created a hole, but so much of matter is there outside. Or you created a hillock, you took the matter from somewhere else and brought it here. No? So the net matter remains the same. Very important to see this. That is why we say the whole creation nothing but apparent mithya. There is no real creation. There is only a manifestation and an unmanifest condition. Even if you look at it from the standpoint of science, Big Bang theory, etc. also. Right now, we are in the expansive part of the universe. Why? Because each system is moving away from each other. That is one of the arguments to support the Big Bang, that there is a huge explosion in the beginning of creation and time, space and everything else emerged. Okay? But there is matter there. And the moment there is matter, there is gravitational force as well, which is attraction between matter. Directly proportional to the masses, inversely proportional to the distance. So even though the explosive forces are massive and the exploding, gravity should be acting as a brake, slowing it down. So a time will come when the explosive forces will be overcome by the gravitational forces. Then what will happen? Instead of expanding outward, it will start collapsing inside. Collapsing into what? Black holes. Black holes and super dense matter. And it becomes so dense because of the gravitational pull, it starts exploding again. So even if you look at it from there, the same thing. Manifesting, unmanifest, manifesting, unmanifest. Or kya? I am simplifying, okay? There is a lot of technical details in this science. I am making it very, very simple. Okay? But that's what the whole thing is. Yeah. Therefore, manifestation at the beginning of the kalpa, back into unmanifest condition at the end of the kalpa. And the nature of the creation will depend upon the nature of the karma that the people have to undergo. And there will always be certain similarities. Why? You're manifesting potentials. So a potential is given. Those potentials that human beings can manifest is left to human beings. Therefore, Ishvara does not manifest a rocket and tells the people, here, use this. That's for the human beings to develop and manifest. That potential is there. So let human beings develop and manifest more and more potential. Let them give the creation the way they want it. And looking around, it's pretty messy anyway. It's pretty good also. Both are there. Yeah. There's always a certain balance, you know. Yeah. There's always a certain balance. Yeah. If there is a Rama, there is a Ravana. Yeah. So, some sort of dynamic balance between good and bad is always there in creation. What in management you will call it as supporting forces, opposing forces. Those of you who are into management, okay? Yeah. For any function, there are supporting forces, opposing forces. This will always be there. And the dynamic balance between the two that makes functioning possible. इतना ही बात है. Okay. Yeah. All right. That means, are you creating the whole thing? Then you are a karta. You should also have karma phalam. That is why the thinking like this, the human being sings, na? ये दुनिया बनाने वाले क्या दुनिया बनाया. I don't remember all the words, but I'm sure all of you have traveled by Bombay trains have heard it. Yeah. दुनिया बनाने वाले क्या दुनिया बनाया. कोई परी को देखे आप भी तड़पाया रहेगा. This is humanizing. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So therefore that is being answered here. Nacha mam tani karmani na bhagnanti dhananjaya udasinavad asinam asaktam teshu karmasu. Nacha mam tani karmani nibhagnati. I am not bound by those karmas. Hey Dhananjaya, victor over wealth, okay, who can win over wealth. Hey Dhananjaya. Different names, okay, for Arjuna. He had a huge, you can have a Sahasranama of Arjuna's names also. Okay, there's so many names he had. All the heroes had names like that, you know. We also have some names, na? In different places we are called different things. Some places Pappu, etc. Oh, hota hai. So, we also have different names. He also had. Oh, his name was very good. Dhananjaya, Parantapaha, etc. Great names. Heroic names. Okay. Okay. Nacha mam tani sarvani nivagnati Dhananjaya. Why? Udasinavad asinam asaktam teshu karmasu. Udasinavad asinam. As though I am indifferent, I am sitting. Okay. Asaktam teshu karmasu. Untouched by any of those karmas. Why? Because there is no real creation. Ishvara standpoint. Creation hai kidhar? Where is book? There is only paper. Book kidhar hai? Paper hi hai. हाँ बराबर है. That's true. Yeah. Where is table? There is only wood. Yeah. This word udasinam, it's a very beautiful word in Sanskrit, okay? It is not really indifference. It looks as though it is indifference because certain words are not translatables. There is an Udasin Sampradaya also in Haridwar. Okay. Sampradaya sadhus called Udasins. Great Vairagis, okay. So if you go to their ashram for Bhiksha, okay, they'll say, "Ha Maharaj ji, baithiye." Where do you sit? You are supposed to squat. You don't sit cross-legged also. You squat. If you need some help, there will be a stone or something there. You can put your heels on the stone. Or you can lean. Because city legs, no, we are not used to squatting. And then the guy will come around giving rotis. And where do you receive the rotis? Karatala Bhiksha, okay, in your hands. Oh, you can't see. Okay. Karatala Bhiksha. And then he'll come with sabji. Where will he put the sabji? On top of the roti. So now you have 2 rotis and some sabji on your hand. Now how are you going to eat it? You devise your own way of eating it. Okay. But that is an udasin sampradaya. There are certain habits. What does the word udasinam mean? Okay, one example for people to understand. It's like a mother watching a child play. A young child. 1 year, 2 years. And the mother lets the child be. It's a good mother, okay? Not overprotective mother. Not a helicopter mother. A good mother. The child gets up and plumps down, falls down. What does the mother do? Let it be. The child looks at the mother will smile back. No, that's it. It's not an mere observation, you're concerned. But you let the child be. Why? That's how the child has to grow. If every time the mother picked up the child when the child fell, we would be crawling around now, not walking around. Yeah. So that is udasina bhavam. You care, there is love, etc., but you respect the independence, the autonomy, if you want to use a psychological word, the autonomy of the child. Therefore, udasinam, creation, I let it go its way. I am sitting back relaxed. I know what's happening, I know what will happen, but I am sitting relaxed. When the problems get too big for the human beings to handle, and they all come and petition me, then I may manifest myself. That's called avatara. Okay. That is called avatara. Only 10 avataras in the whole 4 yugas, okay? Last one yet to come. So when will the last one come? When I talk about the Gita and I get stones in return. Now at least I get 20-30 people listening to me. Na? Don't worry, we are going towards that. If you look at what's happening in Bengal, Mallapuram, etc., we are going towards that. Okay, yeah. I don't know how many places are there in Bengal right now where you can have a public Gita talk. I am not too sure. Yeah. Mallapuram, I know you can't have it. Yeah. So, that time he will, okay, these guys can't handle it, therefore I will come. But our present problems we can handle it. What's the big deal? Certain things, it requires certain action, certain will and certain action, that's all. Corona, big deal, we can handle it. Lord has given us enough inside and outside both to handle it. We have to discover something, bring out certain potentials in terms of vaccines, this, that, etc. Stop being COVID idiots. Okay. You know what are the most dangerous places now, no? During Corona time? All the hill stations, don't go anywhere near. They're full of COVID idiots. Okay. It's like a message one of my friends and students sent me, you know. The world is full of neutrons, protons and morons. Okay. So all the morons, all the COVID idiots are like that. Okay. But that apart. So these problems we can handle. There is no need for an avatara. Okay. All right. Therefore, udasinavad asinam asaktam teshu karmas. Those karmas of creation, etc., don't touch me. Don't touch me. Now, some more light on why it doesn't touch you. Some more light on that. Okay, is that? Maya adhyakshena prakritihi suyate sacharacharam hetuna anena kaunteya Jagad Viparivartate. Okay, here it is. Maya Dhyakshena. Okay, with me, with my presence, with me being the base, the support, just my presence, Sannidhi Matrena, just my presence. Maya Adhyakshena. Prakriti. Prakriti is nature, Maya Shakti. Suyate Sachara Acharam. It manifests all the Chara and Acharam, movable and immovable things, living and insentient things, Saracharam. Anena Hetuna Kaunteya Jagad Viparivartate. By this reason alone does the world keeps changing. What reason? Prakriti. Therefore, what is responsible for the consciousness becoming the creation? It cannot become. Consciousness is limitless. Anything that is limitless cannot be brought under time and space. Otherwise, it won't become limitless, it will become limited. And if an entity is brought within time and space and you do something with it, then the original entity is gone. Like, I have 1 kilo atta. From 1 kilo atta, I made 50 rotis. Proper rotis, okay? Tandoori roti. Not either the chapati that you get. वो चबाने को कुछ मजा नहीं आता. There's nothing to chabao in that. Proper tandoori rotis. 50 roti. अभी आटा किधर है? Where is the atta gone? Atta is gone, only rotis are there. So, God is not manifesting like that. Consciousness remains as consciousness. But Maya Adhyakshena, he says, by my presence, Prakriti gets activated. And the whole manifestation of the creation takes place. Manifestation of the universe. No creation, manifestation takes place. It makes, what does Maya do? Makes the limitless existence consciousness appear in these names and forms. Appear as names and forms. What is there is only one. Satyam Jnanam Anantam. Limitless Satyam Jnanam, that's all that is there. But it appears as a million different things. Yeah. And when Prakriti gets tired and sits down, Pralaya takes place. So Maya seems to have a reality by itself. It doesn't have a reality. It is based on the consciousness. Without the existence of Maya is the existence of consciousness. The sentiency of the Maya is nothing but consciousness. It looks as though it is as an independent entity. That's why Maya is also called Chaya Surupaha. Shadow like. It's a shadow form. Maye, Chaye, these are the terms used. That which is not really there. Ya, that, feminine form. Ya. Ma, which is not. That which is not is Maya. Not Shiva, okay? Shiva is Moksha Surupa. Somebody used the definition of Maya for Shiva. Wrong. Yeah. Anyway, he calls himself uneducated guru, therefore I can forgive him for that. I mean, if he calls himself uneducated guru and makes a mistake, how can I hold him responsible? Okay. But this is it. Ya Ma, that which is not there is called Maya. Not really there, it's only an appearance. I told you all about the 18th elephant, no? Same way. Yeah. It is there for counting, not for distribution. So similarly here, Maya is like that. Okay. All right, we can look at one more. Avajananti mam moodaha manushim tanumashritam param bhavam ajanantaha mama bhuta maheshwaram. Krishna has the same complaint like you and me, okay? What is that? Nobody understands me. Okay. One complaint common across the world, okay? Nobody understands me. Anyway, jokes apart, okay? Bhakta can joke about God, no? What is not a problem, okay? So, jokes apart, avajananti mam moodaha manushim tanumashitaha. Moodaha, dull-headed, idiotic people, meaning ignorant people. Mooda literally means idiot, okay? But here, ignorant people. Idiot meaning ignorant of certain things. Nobody is really an idiot, but they are ignorant about certain things. Okay? Manushim tanumashritam. Me who has taken up a human form. Manushim tanum, a human body. I have taken a human body. But avajananti, not knowing param bhavam, my absolute nature, they don't know. As what? Mama bhuta maheshwaram, as the Lord of all creation, the whole creation. They don't know me like that. How many bhaktas know him like that? Yeah. How many bhaktas really appreciate Krishna as Ishvara? They like to hear stories. He did this as a child, he did that, Makkan Chora. I don't know, I saw in some serial, it was just a serial. Normally serials don't present mythology very well. But one particular scene in this I liked. Parashurama meets Krishna. Okay? Parashurama is a Chiranjeevi, so he's always around, okay? And he meets Krishna. And he tells Krishna. He gives Krishna a conch and says, blow it. He says, both makhan khaya, both ras kiya, abhi apne yug ko sambhalo. I thought that little bit was good because that is what he was meant for. Yeah, that's what he was meant for. Yeah. Therefore, Mam Bhuta Maheshwaram, to understand me, Krishna, as Bhutana Maheshwaram. And if you understand Krishna as Bhutana Maheshwaram, you will not remain separate. You will not remain separate. Param Bhavam. Param Bhavam is Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman, which I have unfolded many times. I mean, we will do it again sometime. Okay? That not knowing. All these things come up, he says. See, even as a bhakta, you have some understanding of Ishvara. Your bhakti is not always based on complete knowledge of Ishvara. Bhakti is always based on incomplete knowledge. That's why there are a million forms and a million stories. If the religious head told the devotees, what is God? God is limitlessness itself. Everyone will nod their head, okay? Not really understanding what is limitless. Mundi to hilayega. Yeah. Parabrahma, ha. You should speak to all these people who sing these bhajans. Then you will understand what I am talking about. Please go and talk to them. Yeah. Param Brahman dane. Yeah, but what is Param Brahman? Param Brahman. You don't know what Param Brahman is Param Brahman. Understand? Then, what do you like to hear about You have to hear the Upanishads or Bhagavatam. All the bhaktas will choose Bhagavatam. Why? उपनिषद में क्या लिखा है? परीक्ष लोकान कर्मचतान ब्राह्मणः निर्वेदमायात है. All निर्वेदमायात. If you know it, you know it. Don't know it. If you don't know it, you know it. ये सब क्या है? मगजमारी का बात है. Don't tell me all these things. Tell me a nice story how Krishna was. And Bhagavatam, they don't want Mahabharata. In Mahabharata, Krishna has a grandeur about him. He strides across the country, setting up kings, uprooting kings, and I mean, he is phenomenal. You look at that and say, wow. But there is a certain grandeur about it, you don't know how to relate to that. Therefore, what do you want to hear? How he stole all the makhan when as a child. How he took the cows for grazing. Because you can relate to that. Yeah. Other thing is that his strategy, how he played around with the kings of the country, my God, phenomenal. But that is strategic thinking. That's diplomacy, that's the art of war. I like to hear about Ras Leela. So I turned around and told one of the Pandits who were doing this, it looks like there is a lot of Ras Leela missing in your life. He looked at me as though he's shocked. He says, romance is missing in your life, no? First he got a little bit angry. Then he saw that I was saying this with compassion, not with confrontation. He said, Ama Swami, this is right. Okay. Naturally, you're living it vicariously. You're living it vicariously. So, do you really understand Ishvara? In fact, many people, if hear me saying this, will get upset also. Like this lady at the local temple a couple of years back, before the lockdown and all came into, asked me, Swamiji, do you teach Bhagavatam? I said, no, Amma, that's very simple. People can read and understand. You are saying Bhagavatam is simple? She got upset. So I smiled and I walked away. What else to do? Poor lady. Yeah. So I thought, अच्छा संस्कार हो जाएगा. Good that bhakti is there. Good samskaras. Next lifetime we can think about the Gita and the Upanishads and everything. So to understand Ishvara is not a small thing. And if there is Ishvara in your life, see, it's already there, you have to recognize it. As the non-dual abhinna nimitta upadana karanam, as the intelligence and the material for the creation, it's all around. If you understand Ishvara at this level, your bhakti will be in sense of harmony with what's happening. You'll go with the flow of things. There will be no resistance to what is happening. You will do what is necessary. Why? Because you don't know what Ishvara's plan is, do you? You are not programmed. Therefore, using your full sense of independence, you will do what you think is right. Your sadharma you will do. And go with the flow at the same time. What happens? You don't resist. Hey, you did all that thing, everything has gone waste. Lord's will. None of the plans worked out. God's will. Hey, certain things have worked out very nicely. God's will. Not that God is willing, okay, that you should do this, you should do that. No. It's the order of creation, karma, the whole matrix of karma that is there. That first movie, Matrix, was very good because it revealed exactly what it is. First time. After that, it went haywire. Because that's what it is. And that's Ishvara. So the whole Matrix, the whole game, just a game. Including birth and death and everything is just a game. And it's important to see it as just a game. That all that life that we take so seriously. Take it seriously, yeah. On one side, take it seriously because that commitment, etc., has to come. And the other side, when the results come, etc., it's a game. Prasada Buddhi, Ishwararpana Buddhi. That's why this part, how Vedanta deals with the functioning world, that Ishwararpanam and Prasada Buddhi becomes so vital. So vital. It not only helps you manage the world, it helps you grow. Helps you grow. Until you can understand the truth in its absoluteness. Otherwise, our understanding of Ishvara is also limited. We become God-fearing because Ishvara is like some mighty figure sitting up there waiting to punish me for every wrong I did. Swamiji, I didn't do puja today, I'm feeling very guilty. ठीक है, नहीं किया एक दिन ना. Don't do anything, you don't get result, that's all. आज का पूजा का result नहीं मिलेगा because you didn't do it. God will get angry. God doesn't have any other thing to do about but get angry at you. You're not that important. Remember, 14 dimensions are there. Where are you in that? Where are you? Karma, karma phala, that's all. You do karma, you get a result. Don't do karma, you don't get the result. Yeah. Simple as that. But you're not God-fearing. No, Swamiji, correct, I'm God-loving. Why, you think he's your uncle or what? Better than God-fearing. But are you seeing, at your levels of maturity, your understanding of God is... Don't worry, before the Gita is over, I will talk about the multiples level at which you will understand God. And what in Gita we are talking about God is what I would call the sixth level in that paradigm of 5, 6 level of Ishvara as the cosmic order of things. Ishvara is everything, the cosmic order. That includes everything. That's responsible for everything. That does nothing at the same time. Therefore, in this verse, Krishna is saying, yeah, nobody understands me, see. I am Bhuta Maheshwaram, but they take me as Radha Lola. Yeah. As a Rasa Leela expert, as a flautist, yeah. Makhan Chor. I mean, one good thing about Krishna Avatara is he's the only person you can give all these names to. Can you imagine calling Shiva Makhan Chor? Oh my God, he is too austere and too stern a figure. You can't call him that. Yeah. And in Gujarat they call him Ranchod also. Why? Because Gujaratis are not exactly warriors. They don't understand what a strategic retreat it is. The warrior mind and the Guju mind doesn't go together. Trade and commerce and Gujarati mind goes very well together. Warrior mind is none. Rajasthan, yes, they have that warrior mind. So Ranchod. And on top of it, they'll call themselves Ranchod Das. Can you imagine how much it will affect your psyche and your thinking? Yeah. The words you use, the concept of Ishvara you have affects your psyche, your maturity. Therefore, the more you understand Ishvara as the order of things, the more mature your response will be in life. Yeah, because there's an order there. Your bhakti will be more in terms of harmony and things like that. At being in peace, at harmony. And as a human being, you are capable of exhibiting the other side of the passion also if necessary. The passion of bhakti. That also you are capable, because you are a human being. You have all these emotions in you. Yeah. So think about this as understanding of Ishvara, okay? And next class, we can go further on this. Good place to stop. Om Tat Sat. Night is still young. Have a great time. Okay.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Thank you all. Enjoy yourself. It's great to be with all of you.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you. Great to be with all of you.
Swamiji.
Thank you, Vijaya.
Sir, thank you so much.
Hari Om ji. Take care. Yeah.
Hi, Sandhya. Hi, how are you? Good, good.
Hi, Sandhya.
Hi.